Hello everybody, so today let's talk about Gwent. Now, my recent time talking about the social deduction community has made me feel a bit nice about talking about games and the various problems they go through. Feeling nice about something. Interested is more the word I'd use. But this is basically a video I thought I'd talk about what's happening with the Gwent game. Now, Gwent is a card game, so one second, I'll just get up a window of the actual game here. Sorry about the music going off. There we go. Right, so it's gonna play a fair bit of time in, as you can see by my enormous playtime over there. But it's a game, sort of like Hearthstone, but a lot different. What you'll be able to see in this game is it follows the Witcher series. You know, with Geralt of Rivia by CD Projekt. Now, recently the game's gone through a rather confusing set of, well, issues. Being that it came out of beta and effectively became a brand new game. Now, I'm gonna say the brand new game is because of this thing here called Thronebreaker. Thronebreaker is a single player campaign with the Gwent card system, but it's not the Gwent card system that was there before. See, when the beta was in, the Gwent game was completely different. Now, if you would look at this, this is how the decks work, right? It's 25 cards and you use provisions. How it used to work before was it was 40 cards, you were allowed 3 copies of almost each card except for the gold ones. There was also silver cards. Now, what they did for this one was they took out the silver cards and they just left gold and bronze. There was gold, bronze and silver. The bronze ones you could have as so many of them. You could have 6 silver ones and you could have 4 gold ones. Now you can have as many of each type of card as you want as long as they fit in this provisions bit up here, which is all set at 165. Now, what this means is the game has effectively completely changed. The cards that people had before were refunded into what we see up here as scraps and ores, which pretty much everyone's entire collections were turned into that, allowing them to buy a very generous amount of the new cards. So much so that my entire collection, which was almost every card in the game, was scrapped, and 3/4 of the amount allowed me to buy one of almost every card in the game. Now, this was incredibly generous of CD Projekt, I'll say that now. But what it means is the game effectively changed. Like, there's a lot of things have different abilities here, because the fundamental core of the game changed. Before, you would have this system where you would have leaders. Like, let's say, if you look here, you've got Big Dwarf King, Dryad Girl, Snake Woman from Thor Ragnarok, Effeminate Guy, I'm going to say Legolas. You know, all days, Vampire Girl, Crazy King, Fun King, Crazy Cannibal King. Yeah, you know, all of the typical things from The Witcher. We'll do one more. The Vampire Lestat, you know. Flipping crazy Satan worshipping tree man, Eredin, who is too badass to have the piss taken out of memorial kill me. Anyway, so what it basically means is before you could put your character onto the field. Like, the field is a two-row thing. Like, you play cards on either the ranged or the melee row right now. Before, it used to be there was a ranged row, a melee row, and an artillery row. Like, there was 3 rows. And during the beta, all the edits they put made it so that whatever row you put something on didn't really matter. It was more about just spacing them out. Now the ranged and melee rows have more significance, you know? But it's almost like they compartmentalized the entire game just so they could put it around this new single-player campaign. Now, this is causing a lot of problems within the community, because the first month you could see there was blatant problems, like there was a deck came out based around these new card types called artifacts, which are basically, I'll show you one. Let's see, a good one is Sihil. Right, so if you consider everything has power, and you put a character's power down to 0, it kills it. Now, this card here became sort of OP, in that this, along with other artifacts, meant you could have a stable board presence that was very rarely able to be destroyed, because, well, artifact destruction cards were well, they were useless in a general setting. So you'd put out your artifacts and you'd basically gain an immediate board presence that could just destroy everything. Now, recently they've completely put the provisional cost of artifacts up, meaning that you can't use them as openly as you once did. But now you see the meta has switched to using various cards. And I'm going to try and explain it in layman terms for all of you, so you can effectively understand how this is working. So let's take Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard first, right? Nilfgaard is being very dominant right now, thanks to a little thing I like to call the Three Witches. Now, if you look, these are 4 power each, but they're only 7 cost, which is like right in the dead middle of what everything costs. If you put all 3 of those in your deck, you draw 1, and their ability is to summon all the others. At which point you get a pretty stable board presence from that. Now, there are some decks that have been made which allow you to use this more than once. Like, more specifically in Skellige, those are happening. But it would seem that with the removal of artifacts, the game is turning into sort of like a look on who can draw the most powerful cards and get them put down. Like, the strategy element seems to be what they're going for is more focused than it was in the beta, but it seems to be that there's less skill now than there was when the beta was here, which is confusing because their entire point was to move it towards more skill being used. Now see, back in the beta they had a thing where you pretty much got whoever goes first had a distinct advantage. Now they've done away with this here, because they've given different leaders the ability to redraw cards throughout the rounds, and if your leader has a distinctly lower power thing, they have more opportunity to draw new cards. Now anyway, what the community is basically going upset about is that half of them seem to think that the new system is much better, but the other half are going a bit upset because they think that the game's been ruined and the core of what the Gwent game was has been changed, because the beta was essentially a different game. But let's just take a look at some of these nice little Nilfie cards here. And the problem is that I know that this is essentially a new game, but it's like you've come out of a beta, which was meant to test one game, with a completely different game. So this game really hasn't had a beta. And it's really confusing, because surely the whole point of the beta was to show the original game. But that's not what's happened here. So now you've got this card game in a curious situation where the developers and balancers are scrambling to make the game into a more fun state without having tested any of the cards in a competitive environment. It's a really strange occurrence, and one which I haven't ever seen in a gaming community before. It's quite clear why they've done this, because basically what they want to do is they wanted to make it the same as Thronebreaker. Oh, I can't really show that. I can actually, yeah. Let me just put Thronebreaker on. Now, the whole thing about Thronebreaker is it uses cards from the multiplayer, but in a single player setting. So the cards that you get in the single player are dramatically overpowered. Like, the cards that the main character Meve uses and her hero power are insanely strong. And I just gotta wonder, why is she not in this version of the game? I mean, it seems a bit odd to me that it's not happened, but this is essentially single player Gwent, and it's really fun. I'm not gonna deny that it's really, really good. But it would seem that they want to make multiple games around this system, using the Gwent card game as a focus. So I'm just thinking, is this how they're monetizing Gwent? And oh, what the flip? Ah, it's gone full screen. No, bad game, bad game. Can't go a video about something going wrong. Bad game! Oh, there we go. But yeah, this is essentially what's coming out of this. Now, the question I want to put to you guys is this worth it? Do you think that with a multiplayer card game, making such a concentrated effort on a single player experience, do you think that's really worth it?
Come on, get them shackles off.
Hang on, sorry.
Oh, son, can't eat proper.
As you can see from the start, you put right in the story.
What if he runs for
And
it?
I'm not gonna lie, the story in this is fantastic. If you ever played The Witcher, or Witcher 2, or Witcher 3, it's absolutely brilliant. And it's gone full screen again. Why won't it stay where it's supposed to be? Grr. But its battles are using this new system, like I said. So if you look, it has a link to the multiplayer. It's essentially using the same menu. You click continue and go in. I'm just going to show you how this system works a little bit. I think I can't really get into a random fight because I don't think there's any on the part where I was at. This is just the end. The thing is, this has been plagued a bit with bugs, just a little bit. But yeah, this game, it has multiple endings. It has 20 different world states. It says lots of different things. This is Meve. Meve is definitely one of my favorite Witcher characters of all time. Like, if we go into here, you'll notice you'll get your deck. You get your leaders. There's 6 forms of the main character, which I hope actually get put in the game quite soon. You get empowered cards of your party members, which gives them their ability to do things in this game. And so this is generally the state of Gwent as it is now. And I'd be remiss to say it's not a massive improvement on how the beta was going. But due to how the community's receiving this, and how they're ostracizing their previous beta participants, and making them play a game which is essentially not what they signed up for. Is this wrong? Is this against consumer wants? Is this some sort of crazy new business strategy which is effectively making a new game and pretending it's the old game? I mean, it's weird, because people did spend money on the beta of Gwent, and to have all of your cards from that game be thrust into what's essentially a completely different card game with different structure. What do you think? Do you think that's good? Do you think that's bad? Do you think it's a bit over the top or something? Let me know. I just wanted to have a quick talk about how this is going and what this crazy situation that's happened is all about. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. I really do enjoy doing these videos, you know, talking about the problems that games face and what the crazy things the developers do about them is like. So leave a comment, leave anything that I can like converse with you about, and we'll see you next time. Bye.